Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Hope you're having a good week / weekend / whatever time you're watching this. I hope it's good. Today is going to be my October flip through in my beloved Hobonichi Cousin, and I'm super excited because, as I kind of mentioned in my last video, I started using the Cousin differently in October, and there's a lot of variety in the pages. It's going to be really fun to take you through. I'm just looking forward to it. Before I get started, really sorry if you can hear lots of background noise this week. Any background noise you hear is fireworks, because in the UK we have this thing called Bonfire Night on the 5th of November. Today's the 4th, but it's a Saturday, so I guess people are celebrating early. Anyway, let's start with the monthly. All right, I know what you're going to say. This is the September monthly. You're correct. It is the September monthly. I'm going to show this first because I think it's important to show the contrast between this month and October, because I did change how I use this page. Yeah, it's been a big month of change in this planner. So September, I mentioned in my September flip through, I didn't end up very happy with this spread because a lot was going on. I was tracking health, I was tracking mood, I was tracking what special interests I engaged in, I was tracking other hobbies, I was doing a little bit of memory keeping here and there. There was just a lot going on. Too many things going on. It got overwhelming. I didn't like how it turned out. So for October, I decided to strip things back and use the page kind of as the Hobonichi gods intended, as an actual calendar. Revolutionary, I know, but let me show you what that looked like. So, I love this page. I love how the spooky theme, it just pulled together. We've got so many cool spooky stickers. I've got these cool bats and spider webs from Stick with Kate. I've got loads of different spooky stickers from Bartista Shop on Etsy, like this bat, these pumpkin friends. Yeah, there's a lot of cool decoration here. I love how it turned out. I've also got, of course, some autumn emotes from the Coffee Monsters Co. Anyway, decoration aside, I used this as a calendar. It was really helpful, actually. I decided to make this change because I was previously using the yearly pages in the Hobonichi as a calendar, but I actually have the Japanese Hobonichi Cousin this year, and I can't read Japanese, which became a problem in the yearly pages because it doesn't say the days of the week in English, it just says them in Japanese. So I'd constantly be there I don't know what day of the week this is, is this a Monday? Is this a Sunday? So yeah, the yearly pages just turned out to be too confusing to use as a calendar, whereas the monthly pages do have the days of the week in English, so perfect. I decided to, well, first of all, I tracked only events, in my personal life, and tasks to do with my personal life. So you can see things like my nail appointment, seeing a friend, and then just tasks like putting the bin out, or, buying my sister a birthday card, that kind of thing. I did eventually also start putting my work meetings in here because I was finding it's hard to arrange appointments looking at your calendar if you don't also have your work meetings in, because I don't want personal stuff to conflict with my work meetings. Anyway, yeah, ended up having these 3 categories of things in here, and I used a little different coloured dot to signify each. I used orange for events. I used red for tasks, although I don't know why I put an order being due as a task. That's more of an event. Anyway, yeah, I used a beige dot for work meetings, and this isn't a colour coding system I'll use every month. I'm going to switch up the colours depending on the colour scheme of the month, which here was orange tones, brown tones, and pinky red tones, I guess. Yeah, I really liked how it looked. I really liked that there is a bit more empty space here. This sounds strange coming from me because in my weeklies and dailies, I hate empty space. I just hate it. I'm allergic to it, as I mentioned on Instagram recently. I love to fill every square. For some reason, on the monthly page, I like things to have a bit more room to breathe. This style of spread with the dates and then a hefty amount of decoration, it just made me very happy. I really enjoyed putting this together, so I'm going to stick with this kind of system going forward, just using it as a calendar and then decorating according to a theme. The only other thing to mention here, I guess, is I did like a little sum up of the month in the sidebar, just to give a sense of how it felt, what my experience was in that month. And this past month, I guess, it was really fun. Like, I had a lot of super fun plans, like seeing a Shakespeare play, but with a twist of a word that I probably can't say out loud on YouTube, but yeah, you can read it there. It was a lot of fun. I went to a book festival with my friend and met a historian I really admire. That was cool. What else did I do? I hit a couple of cool YouTube milestones. I got monetized, which is really cool, and I also hit 2,000 subscribers. And great month for Taylor Swift, because saw the Eras Tour movie. That was great. It was an amazing time. Loved it. Also loved 1989 Taylor's version. So yeah, it was a good, fun month. The one thing I will say is, because I had so many fun plans, I think I burned myself out a bit. Ended up very tired by the end of the month. Hopefully November I can better find that balance between fun and rest. I think that's all there is to say about this spread. To be honest, I could talk about it all day because I love looking at it. I just love how it turned out. It looks so good. And yeah, I'm kind of sad to say goodbye to the Halloween theme, but I guess that just means that Christmas is coming up. So, one holiday leads into another. All right, I'm rambling at this point. Let's switch to the weeklies. All right, the weeklies are probably the only part of my cousin that has remained consistent. I have not changed how I use these. I love this setup, it really works for me. So yeah, if you're new here, just a recap of how I use these pages. I use the weeklies first for my to-do lists, both like the weekly one and daily ones. And I use the rest of the columns as like a memory keeping thing. I split each day up into AM, PM, and evening, and just kind of write down the main stuff that happened in each of those time windows. Regarding this week specifically, I didn't really like how the decoration pulled together. If you ignore the washi tape and the stickers, it looks great, but the washi tape and the stickers don't really match the colour theme. I think I'd gone for this reddy pink to try to pull out the red in this beautiful washi tape, by the way. How stunning is this? Like sparkles, mushrooms, what more could you want? Anyway, I'd picked reddy pink as the colour to pull out, but the red in the tape doesn't match the red I'd used in the pen, so it just ended up looking weird. I think if I use this tape again, which I will because I love it, I'll probably choose purple as the accent colour, because I do have a purple pen that pretty much matches the purple tones used. I think that'll look better. Anyway, I think this week was a bit of a struggle looking back at the notes here. I seem to have been very tired and basically having trouble focusing. Can't really remember why I was so tired and having trouble focusing, but I was. Luckily though, it did end with me saying that I had a bit of a lie-in and felt the most energized that I had in a while. So, end on a positive. I did feel less tired in the end. But yeah, let's move on to the next weekly, because as I say, this isn't my favourite. All right, this is a weekly I actually posted on Instagram this week, and as I was looking at it, I realised, earlier when I was saying I'm kind of allergic to empty space, this spread exemplifies that. I had written so much, everywhere. This is the only empty bit in the entire spread, really. I think part of that is because I had a very long to-do list that week, so there wasn't really any empty space there. And as you can see, I was running out of room on my daily to-do list. So much happened this week. But I did like the decor a bit better in this one. I love this washi tape from the Coffee Monsters Co. I think it was a leftover from the January subscription from this year. Anyway, it's beautiful, regardless of when it was from. And yeah, this was a week when I made it a bit of an error for the Eras tour, huh? Yeah, see what I did there? Anyway, I forgot to put the evening heading in. I think it's because I put the fact that we were going to see the Eras tour film in here before I put the rest of the headings in, and then I realised, oh no, I started here thinking that this would be the line below that, and it wasn't, so had to skip it on that day, but never mind. It was a really good time. I've already said that, but just to underscore, it was a really good time. Other than that, there really seems to be a theme in October so far of just extreme tiredness. That emoji sums it up well. That emoji also sums it up well. And this one. And that one, in fact. Just a lot of tiredness, I guess. Yeah. Super sleepy again. See? What was going on in October? As I was saying, it's probably because I did so much that I was just permanently exhausted. But, you know, again, good things did happen. This was the weekend when my channel reached like the threshold to get monetized, which was incredible. That wasn't the goal of making a channel for me, by the way. Like, I didn't make this to become my livelihood, I guess. It is just purely for fun. But in times like these, with the whole cost of living crisis going on, I'm not going to say no to any extra money. And to be clear, I'm not raking it in by any means, but even a tiny bit of extra is much appreciated. Anyway, yeah, that was good. I, as I say, had really fun plans. Saw a historian I love. We went for cake beforehand at an amazing cafe in Durham called Venel's, if you're ever in Durham. So good, the cakes. But yeah, very busy spread, very busy week, very sleepy time is the best way to sum up this week. Let's move on to the next one and see if I was any less tired. Probably not, let's be real. Oh, actually, I mean, I was tired a couple of days here, but there seems to be less tiredness, maybe. Anyway, I just want to flag this absolutely stunning washi tape from the Coffee Monsters Co. It was from Helen's birthday drop this year. She did a number of washi tapes and sticker sets based around master artists. This is the Monet one, and I just love it so much. Like the colours, the bits of sparkle here and there, it's just stunning on like every level, and I adore it. And I also adore Monet. Like, he's probably one of my favourite artists. If you're ever in Paris and can go to the museum where the water lilies paintings are, please do. Like, it's incredible. We ended up going there because we tried to go to the Louvre, but we didn't realise quite how busy it would be and didn't book ahead. And this was a problem because we got there at 9 a.m. on the morning and it had already sold out and we couldn't get in. So yeah, it worked out because we got to see Monet's water lilies and they were beautiful. But one day, gonna have to go back to Paris to actually go to the Louvre. Also went to a restaurant that only serves different types of souffle. It was so good. Oh, now I'm dreaming of souffle. Let's get back to planners. What did I do this week? I missed my fiance because he was away for work. I also, oh yeah, this was when we got some new furniture delivered, which we really needed because the old furniture was 30 years old and falling to bits. But I just like got really sucked into a hyper-focus that afternoon of like cleaning the house before the furniture came. And I did a lot more cleaning than I really needed to because like the new furniture was just for the bedroom. Could have got away with just that. Just vacuuming the bedroom. No, I just did multiple rooms, multiple really random cleaning tasks, like cleaning all the taps in the house. Like, why did I do that? I don't know. I just did. And it became a problem because I didn't really do much work. So had to catch up the next day, which ended in a very late night working. But, you know, we learn from our mistakes, don't we? This was also a weekend where I got super fixated on Animal Crossing and like terraformed my island and moved flowers around for like 6 hours. That's not an exaggeration. Like, I actually did do it for like 6 hours. Yeah, it ended up looking really great, but felt very weird coming out of that. You know, I don't know if anybody who isn't neurodivergent knows what I'm talking about, but if you are, you know when you like surface from a hyperfixation and you just really like delirious almost and just disorientated. It's like when you wake up from a nap and you're just like, what planet am I on? Like, where am I? How did I get here? That is the feeling of like surfacing from a hyperfixation. And that is how I felt after that Animal Crossing session. But apparently we had a really tasty Chinese takeaway, so probably made up for it. Anyway, yeah, I love how this looked, mostly because of the washi tape. It's beautiful. Let's move on though to the final weekly, which is kind of like a spooky theme. Used a lot of the same stickers as I mentioned in the monthly from Stick with Kate and Bartista Shop. And again, really love how this looks. Really love the spooky vibes. You might be wondering why I did this the week before Halloween and not the week of Halloween. And that's because the Halloween week is mostly in November. And it would have felt weird to me to have like loads of Halloween decoration in November. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone except me, but I felt more comfortable doing it before Halloween than mostly after Halloween. Either way, I knew I needed to have a spooky spread at some point, and here it was. All right, let's move on to the dailies because they're the most exciting thing here. I'm so excited to show these. Oh, it's going to be great. All right, daily pages. So, as I kind of alluded to earlier, I've started using these a bit differently to previously. Before, as a reminder, I was kind of using them as a daily journal, interspersed with gratitude journaling as well. I've decided to switch them to being commonplace pages for the most part, with some gratitude still sprinkled in there for now. I think I might move that to a separate book just for space reasons. Like, I think I need this just to be a commonplace. But yeah, anyway, this was the first month I made that change. To start with, on the 1st of October, I decided to do a little cover page to sum up the month. It's spooky season, obviously. It's Bella Swan Depression month. New moon is peak cinema. Anyway, yeah, it's also just autumn. Put in this Vincent van Gogh autumn landscape painting. I really love this painting of his, and he's actually keeping me company for this video. Got him on my mug. There he is. Bought that in Amsterdam when I visited many years ago. Anyway, back to the planner. One thing I'll mention is, yes, I did not put the cover page on the cover page. I think I was basically just trying to backfill the 1st of October, and I couldn't think of anything else to do. So I was like, we're just going to pretend the actual cover page doesn't exist and use this as it instead. Next month, or this month, November, basically, I have actually used the cover page as the cover page. So I've rectified that. But yeah, this month I didn't. I used the 1st. Anyway, let's move on to what is actually kind of a relic here. This is the last double page spread that has like the old style of journaling on it. So I've got like my gratitude log and then my daily notes. I did love how this looked, again, purely because of these beautiful washi tapes from the Coffee Monsters Co. They're both master artist themed again, and they both have little bits of foil shimmer, which I just love. I just love the colours as well. Everything about them is perfect. But yeah, this was the last time I used this particular setup on 2 pages. Let's move on and see what I did next. Right, yeah. This might explain, by the way, why I was so tired and everything in the weeklies when I was like, why was I so tired all the time? Probably because I was having a very bad time with anxiety. And anxiety really does tire you out. It's exhausting being constantly panicked about the smallest of things. So I decided, obviously, to backfill this about the fact I'd been feeling anxious for a few days. And in the interest of balance, I did a page about what wasn't going well for me, which was, mostly anxiety. And I also did a page about what was going well, because I think it's important to not get too doom and gloom about things and recognise that, some good things still happen even in difficult times. I did like how I used the 2 moon stickers, but like we've got practically a new moon and then a full moon to show like the contrast between the bad and the good. I thought it looked cool. But yeah, this was obviously not a good couple of days for me. I apparently wasn't even happy with the lettering. I'd said that it was wonky, but looking back, I don't actually think it was. So maybe that was my anxiety talking there. Let's see what happened. Okay. Yeah, things still weren't going well, it seems, because I started journaling and then just gave up and put this wonderful hand lettering in about the day being a write-off. And yeah, I remember actually, I did that and then I was like, how am I going to fill this bit? So I decided to get this sheet of mushroom stickers from Bartista Shop on Etsy and just put a ton of mushrooms there. And I think it looks nice. The colour tones fit. And who doesn't love mushrooms? Quite a lot of people actually, from what I've gathered. As a former vegetarian, mushrooms used to be a true staple of my diet. And I got a lot of people saying like, yeah, we love mushrooms. And then a lot of people being like, they're disgusting. How can you eat them? They're like little slugs. I'm like, well, that's your opinion and it's not mine. Anyway, yeah, I didn't have a good day there. Ended up doing like a backfill, I guess, of everything that happened that weekend. And love this sticker, by the way, from Stick with Kate. Very soothing, actually. Just looking at that makes me feel calm. But I'd written about some fun plans I'd had, one of which was seeing that play in Newcastle and also going to get Indian food beforehand. And it was honestly the best butter chicken I've had in my life. and I've had a lot of butter chicken in my life. So yeah, that was a good time. Then another kind of commonplacey page here was some recent photos I'd taken that I liked. This is the River Wear in Durham, as seen from Framwellgate Bridge, one of my favourite views in the whole city, because you can't really tell from this photo, but you can actually see another of the bridges, Prebends Bridge, from that bridge. There's a lot of bridges in Durham. And of course, you can't go wrong with a wholesome picture of the cat, looking like a loaf. I think I was trying to make the bed, and she was like, no, I'm going to be a loaf on this bed, and there's nothing you can do about it. Anyway, here is just another traditional style page. As I say, like, I did stop doing, like, the double pages. Here's where I was still kind of being like, maybe I can do a single page like this from time to time. This did not last long, as you'll see, but this one looks all right. I love these stamp stickers. I think I've talked about that before. They're kind of like Japanese artwork on stamps, and they're really cool. Moving on, though, this was another, like, traditional page. I put in some just, like, random autumn-themed objects on that page. What was I doing that day? Oh my god, that was when the magpie tried to break into my house. This keeps happening, and I've noticed it's happening to other houses in the neighbourhood as well. Basically, there's this magpie, right? And it comes and sits on all of our window ledges and just, like, whacks on the window and tries to get in. Like, if you leave the window even slightly open, it, like, shoves its beak in and it's, like, trying to open it. And it keeps scaring the absolute bejesus out of me. Like, I'll be in the middle of work and then I'll look and there's this magpie at the window just tapping. It's kind of spooky, I'm not gonna lie. I left it some food as a peace offering and it just kind of ignored it, which is frankly incredibly rude. But yeah, that was when the magpie incidents began. This was the first time, but it was certainly not the last, I will tell you that. I haven't seen the magpie on our window ledges in a few days now, but I've seen it on neighbours, so it's still about, and I'm sure it's going to come back and haunt me at some point. I don't know what I've done to anger the magpies, but never mind. This page was just like a notes page for one of my YouTube videos. I think it was about why I threw out my journals. I do sometimes like to write notes for the journal and chats in particular, just so I don't ramble about nonsense for like half an hour. Having a bit of structure helps. And here I think is where I definitively was like, we're switching to a more commonplace style, no more old style spreads. Like, I think this is it now. And I started with just like a life update of things that had been happening, because a lot had been happening, apparently. The health anxiety had passed, thank goodness, because, oh God, it's the worst. I was just feeling very grateful for all the people in my life, both in real life and virtual friends, getting a lot of joy from Animal Crossing, which happens all the time, and was looking forward to the weekend to come when I had a lot of fun stuff going on, not least Taylor Swift The Eras Tour. Not going to say again that it was great. I mean, I literally just did. Wow. Let's move on. Yeah, this was Durham Book Festival, and when I met Janina Ramirez, the historian I really like, and I did like a little bit of journaling about it, and then mostly just notes about what she talked about, because it was super interesting. It was all about like women in the Middle Ages, and my boy Bede, love some Bede. Yeah, it was a good time. Here, I decided that because I wasn't doing the daily journaling of gratitude anymore, I'd start doing like weekly gratitude spreads, or this wasn't quite a week, it was a little bit less, but yeah, I really enjoyed tracking a few things every day that I was grateful for. I think I skipped a day, but that's fine. I'm trying to be less strict with myself of like feeling like I have to do something every single day, because not every day is going to have the space for me to do that. So yeah, giving myself a bit more of a break with this kind of stuff. But it's still nice to be grateful when I remember and when I have the time. And yeah, this was my system update spread, which you'll have seen in the last video, which is all about my system update. I'm not going to dwell on this too much because it's just very repetitive. It is essentially the notes I took for that video. So if you're interested, go and watch my last video. I will briefly touch on this. Again, Coffee Monsters Co., Da Vinci, washi tape. Beautiful. I love like the bronze foil. It's just so good. Anyway, moving on to a couple of articles that I'd taken notes on. I'm trying to read more articles about my special interests because I noticed some of them I've been neglecting a bit, and I get a little bit antsy when I don't engage in my special interests. So I'm trying to make a real effort to like write more about them. This in particular is my history special interest, particularly like anything from prehistory up until the end of the medieval period is like my real jam. Love it. And here I'd written about Stonehenge because they made like an interesting discovery about it, which I talked about in the last video, so I won't do again. And here was, I mentioned I'd seen this historian talk at the book festival. She actually wrote a commission for the book festival, and I took some notes on that. It was about some impressive women, particularly in the Northeast in medieval times. And I decorated it with some pictures of some saints that she mentions, and of course, Whitby Abbey. Obviously very famous for Dracula reasons, but also, if you're a medievalist, famous for just like historical reasons. It's a really lovely place. I want to go back. I love Whitby so much. It's like one of my happy places. The Abbey's beautiful, and yeah, you also get really good fish and chips in Whitby, just saying. Anyway, yeah, I took quite a few notes on that article actually. I think I found it very interesting, and going forward, I've actually subscribed to a few newsletters and magazines, like actual physical magazines about my special interests, so that I can keep writing about them and reading articles about them, because as I say, it really does help my well-being to engage in them. So I'm going to be doing more of that, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, looking forward to that. Here we have another Taylor Swift spread. This was because it was a year since Midnights came out, her most recent non-re-recording album, and I felt like writing about it because it's still probably one of my favourite albums of her ever. And I know that recency bias probably factors in there, but even besides that, I really love the style. It's kind of like moody synth pop, and I'm moody and I love synth pop, so it was really made for me. But I decided to go through and just like rank every song now, or not rank, rate every song out of 10 a year on, just to see how I'm feeling about them now. And they're pretty high scores overall. There's only a couple that I didn't really like, and I still listen to them most of the time. Labyrinth I'd put as a skip because I really didn't like the intro, but I've actually come a bit more around to it now. So I'd probably put that up to like a 6 out of 10. Still not my favourite, but I will listen to it. But yeah, there's a lot of 10 out of 10s here. Also some smudging. When did that happen? Interesting. Anyway, moving on, we've got kind of a bit of a mishmash page here where I'd done a bit of journaling on my sister's birthday. And I'd also done some commonplacing. I'd written down some quotes that I'd saved on Tumblr, and this postcard from 1910 that I'd reblogged on Tumblr that I thought was really cool. Decided to put it in here. Otherwise, we've got another gratitude log. What was I grateful for this week? I was grateful for my new nail salon that I've switched to because I had a bad experience at the old one, and I was like, I don't want to go back there, so I've switched to a new one, and it's fantastic. Love it. They did these wonderful red iridescent nails that I've got on today. And yeah, Ben & Jerry's fish food. Always on my gratitude log. Love it so much. Here we've got more quotes from Tumblr. I've actually got quite a backlog of quotes from Tumblr to commonplace. I've been collecting them for months, but not actually writing them down. So there's probably going to be quite a few pages like this in the near future as I kind of get up to date on that. This was also the day I hit 2,000 subscribers. Thank you again for that. Still can't believe it, but here we are. Here we have my big, mega 1989 Taylor's version set of spreads. Not even just one, right? There's a lot. It goes on a while. Because this was a very special album to me. I did a little kind of review of each re-recorded song. I think my favourite re-recordings are Style, which is controversial because a lot of people don't like it. I'd actually written here that it was a miss for me because at first it was. Like, it felt odd and off, but the more I listened to it, actually, I'm really here for it. I love it now. So ignore what I've written there. My opinions have changed in literally the week since I wrote that. Also loved Out of the Woods. It just somehow is even better. Like, it was already probably my favourite off this album, and now it's just in another dimension, as I'd written. It's incredible. Wonderland I'm also really vibing with this time. I think before I'd always preferred New Romantics from the bonus tracks, but I think Wonderland has supplanted it. And then if we turn over to the Vault, I wrote a lot about that. I have a lot of feelings about these songs. I generally think they're great. This is probably, for me, the strongest Vault overall. Other Vaults have better songs. For example, Red Taylor's version has Better Man and All Too Well 10-minute version, which individually are just incredible. But I think as a whole, this is the vault that has the most quality in like every song, if that makes sense. I'm not going to read out all my thoughts about every song, but let's just say Is It Over Now is my new addiction. I love it. It's an absolute banger. I have it on repeat like most of the time. I have like an app that tracks how many plays I have on my Spotify, and this song is like already, I think, in my top 10 for the entire year. And it came out last week. So that tells you everything you need to know. I'm obsessed with it. Also love Say Don't Go and Now That We Don't Talk. And I like the other two, but I love those three. And that brings us to the last couple of pages in October. Here I'd written a bit about hitting 2,000 subs, but also 1,000 Instagram followers, which again, wild to me. And then the last day, of course, was Halloween itself, which was a good day. It was the day I got these nails done, which partly was why I decided to get blood red, because why not? Halloween, blood red, it fits. And other than that, I had a pretty low-key Halloween. We did buy some sweets for trick-or-treaters, and then we ate them, so I had to buy more. And then I ate some of those as well. But it turned out okay, because we didn't actually have that many trick-or-treaters this year. I don't know whether that's because we were working and like I was out of the house until quite late, so maybe we just missed them. I don't know, but more sweets for us, I guess. I'm not complaining. That brings us to the end of this flip through. I hope it was a fun one. I've really enjoyed the direction that this book has taken in the last month. Like, I'm really enjoying using this, The Commonplace. And yeah, I'm excited to have kind of like a different spread every day, because as I mentioned in my kind of video about why I changed to commonplacing here, I was getting a bit bored of using the same format every day, and I'm kind of enjoying being able to flip back and see a different thing every day and see a more rounded picture of what I was doing. Not just like the basics of daily journaling, what I was doing, but like what kind of stuff was I reading? What was I feeling grateful for? You know, what music was I listening to? I love the commonplacing style. Allows me to get that really holistic view of everything going on for me. But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say this week. I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you all have a great week. And I'll see you in the next video, which is probably going to be a reading journal flip through, because in the last video, comments, people said they would be interested in that. So I will give the people what they want and do a flip through of my reading journal. But anyway, yes, ending this video now before I ramble on forever. Have a great week, and thank you for making it to the end.